You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO to the talk show. Sir Charles, Miss Max, AA Ron, Razor.
Hey.
Another Sunday in the booth, in the building.
Hold on. Jim.
Why we sound like a bunch of rappers? Huh?
There's always one. Miss Max, we got to give the people what they want. You know that now. But man, it feels like it's been a minute, Miss Max. You know, we've been on the airwaves and whatnot, re-airing. You know, going back to some of the classics, some of the favorites. But but this is a little freshness today, a little newness. Glad we can be back. We had to get back for the people, right, Miss Max? It's election season. There's so much going on in the city, the state, the country, worldwide, Miss Max.
Hey, it ain't so. I mean, it has been a minute, and a lot has transpired, especially here locally. I don't even know where to begin. I don't even know. I don't even know. I feel like we should open the show with like a prayer or something like that, because the city needs Jesus.
Always. Hey, look, that part's already taken care of.
Right. Yeah, but I'm glad to be back.
All day long.
Yeah.
I just want Glenn Youngkin and Terry McCall to stop calling my phone every 5 minutes.
I know, right?
Want me to vote for them. I ain't voting for neither one of y'all jokers.
They text now.
Hello, you know it's real when you get the text straight to the phone. Yes. But thank y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Tell a friend. IMHO Talk Show online, any social media you choose. You know how to reach us. Also at the station during the breaks. You know, tell them how to reach us, Miss Max.
434-422-9101, and we should be streaming this on YouTube or Facebook.
Yep.
Feel free to put your comments there.
There you go. I'm ready. I'm ready for the day. Stellar lineup. Don't want to miss it. We on till 3, y'all. And you know what, Max? Let's start with some good news today. How about that?
All right.
How that sound, Razor AA Ron? Good news. We are joined by 2 young ladies right now. Dr. Sharika Jones-Lewis, Director of Community Research at the UVA Equity Center. And we are also joined by the Project Manager for One Small Step, Samyutha. Ladies, how are you all doing today?
Doing well. How are y'all?
Doing good.
We're doing
Hey, Miss Lewis. Hey, Samyutha.
So thank y'all for joining us, because I can tell you like Aaron's already feeling ratchet, and today's gonna be a thick one. So we wanted to start with the good news today. So Dr. Jones-Lewis, I'm gonna kick it over to you to bring the folks up to date with a couple of initiatives coming out of the UVA Equity Center.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. We definitely wanted to come back on IMHO last year when we put out our call for people to apply to be a community fellow in residence through the Equity Center. We got some applications after we came on the show, and so we really appreciated that support. Thank you.
Anytime.
Of course.
So we just wanted to come back and just let people know that applications for the next cohort are open, and you all can visit our website. And if you look on the website under Community Fellows in Residence, there is a page called Apply to be a Fellow. On the website, it really explains what the fellowship is, what the process for application is. There are some FAQs, and then links to our fellows projects from this year and last year, so that people can kind of know, like, this is what other people have done. But we also want people to understand that shouldn't stifle what you do, right? So even if you see something and you're like, well, my project is really different, let us know. We have a group of folks from our local steering committee, and they look at all of the applications, and then they let us at the Equity Center know who should go through as a fellow. But they are very fair folks. So just put it out there, and we would be happy to have all of the applications. So
Yeah. Could you give us, I know you said we could find the information on your website, but maybe just like a quick explanation of maybe one of the projects and what came out of it, and then maybe having completed one fellowship, what you might hope for or like to see in the next one.
Two really good questions. So one of my fellows that really comes to my mind as soon as you ask the question is Bonita Mayo. And so Benita's project is a photo docuseries on the disparities of African American maternal health. And so she has really been looking at basically looking at the quantitative data that tells us pretty much everything that we already know, right? Like that Black babies die at a higher rate, that Black mothers are not listened to, that when they are in pain, they're told to, toughen up and stop crying type of situation. And so what she has been able to do is to take pictures, photos of mothers, not just during childbirth, but as they are pregnant and postpartum. And she's been doing that in collaboration with Birth Sisters, a wonderful organization, and really helping to show joy, right? And how joy can be brought about when things are done in a different way. And so she is planning on putting together an expo, basically, showing, not an expo, but an exhibit showing her photos, and then also wrapping some of that data around it to really try to make change. She's also working with the law school clinic in order to look at how she can wrap other things around this project to really push for institutional change.
Nice. Good work.
Yeah, she's good people. Max, the other question you asked me was, what are we kind of looking for this next cohort? And I think that for me personally, it's diversity. We are the Equity Center, and we're really focused on projects that impact directly racial and socioeconomic redress. And we got Black folk in the building, and so that's great. And we have a little bit more diversity of other folks this year, but I think that when we think about redress, we can also think about, different races, people who don't all identify, as Southern Baptist type of situation. Just different people, right? Diversity of thought is really important, and we want people to know that we are here for them. So I don't get to choose who is a fellow. So I'm not saying that if people do apply and they are, different in those ways, that they will get chosen. But I do think that it's really important just to bring in a different group of folks.
Right.
That's awesome.
And that project sounds amazing. Just speaking from my own experience, I remember being a young mother, 18 years old, single mother, and taking my kid to her first pediatrician visit and spending the majority of the visit talking about where her father was instead of the care for my child.
Right.
And that's such an amazing project because, these young girls or these women feel seen and feel like someone is aware of the issues that they're dealing with, and someone is ready to talk about it and bring light to it. And that in itself is a resource. You feel supported. Right. And so amazing work.
That's right.
You are speaking my language. Let me just pop in and say that I was on a call with Benita earlier this week, and those are exactly the words that she used, right?
Yeah.
Is helping mothers to be seen and heard and listened to, right? So sometimes we hear people, but we don't actually listen to them. So really clearing space for people to have voice, and for that voice to be amplified, and for folks to be listened to is definitely important.
Spot on. Thank you for that, Dr. Jones-Lewis. And one more time, for those that may have missed it, how do they get to that link to sign up?
So they're going to go to the Equity Center page, and if they go to programs and partnerships, one of the links there is community fellows and residents, and there is an apply page.
Awesome. Good stuff. Good. Please keep up the good work. And we're not quite done with it yet, because you brought a partner with you here today, Sam Yutha. And she is with One Small Step. Sam Yutha, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, first time on air with us with the IMHO family. Y'all give it up for Sam Yutha. So Sam, you are the project manager for One Small Step. For those who are new to that, please tell us what that's about and what you currently have going on for the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So One Small Step is actually a program that was founded by this national nonprofit called StoryCorp, which has been around for about 18 years now. And their mission is to collect as many human voices as possible so that we can recognize how sacred people's stories are and kind of capture them for generations to come. And they basically go around the country collecting stories from ordinary people, and those stories are archived at the Library of Congress so that people's children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren can hear about their stories. And so the Democracy Initiative at UVA partnered with StoryCorp earlier this year to launch this particular project called One Small Step for the Charlottesville and greater Charlottesville communities. And what One Small Step does is it's a program that's designed to help address the political division that we are experiencing in this country. And what they do is they bring together people who have different political beliefs, but who have something else potentially in common. And we bring them to a table to have a conversation with one another, not about politics, not to debate the issues, but rather to get to know each other as people and to hear their life stories and to find out what actually shaped their perspective. So kind of going to what Dr. Jones-Lewis was saying about listening and rather than hearing, really listening, that is at the heart of this project. So we are trying to interview as many people in the greater Charlottesville area as possible over the course of this academic year so we can really get to know better the people who live here.
That's deep. The first thing that comes to my mind is just Charlottesville itself. And I'm curious of how much Charlottesville played a role in that. When you look at what's called, quote unquote, the town and gown, of folks who feel separate from the university but have a rich history.
Yeah.
Do you all have much input from like the local community as far as the way that this developed or the.
Yeah. So the goal of the Democracy Initiative is to, I think, also bridge some of the gaps between the university and the community at large, because we recognize that there is a separation there between the institution and then the people who live around it. And so what we're focusing on a lot with this project, and what my goal is to build a lot of community partnerships in this work. Because so far we've had over, I think, 230 people sign up to do these interviews, and it is, I think more than half of them are people who are not university affiliated, because we're trying to pass the mic to people who aren't part of the university solely. And so I'm working on getting some partnerships out in the community with different organizations and leaders who represent people who are often voiceless in this area.
Gotcha.
Can I jump in and just say that really goes back to like clearing that space, right? So clearing space for people who need to be heard and people who deserve to be heard.
That's right.
And that's why the Equity Center is on board with helping the Democracy Initiative to really spread this word, because it really is good work. I am signed up for my conversation on Friday.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
So I'm really looking forward to it, and really looking forward to being able to talk about my experience. Once I'm done. So
Good stuff. Sounds like a great partnership.
Yeah.
Miss Max?
Yeah, so I was just going to say, we all are seeing so much tension in the city of Charlottesville right
What
now.
you talking about?
And we, I think that a lot of us lose sight of the fact that this community and this city is made up of people. And so when you bring people together to talk about, their cultural issue they're facing or their experiences or what have you, the people are what drive the change. Not, yes, institutions were created, but people are what can change this. And so I think that's great also, as far as bringing people together to be able to share experiences and hopefully empathize and sympathize with one another and come to some central conclusion where we can move together as a group of people. Because if we want to change things, then that's exactly how it's done. Instead of doing it in factions, we do it together.
Definitely.
Good word, Miss Max.
I think there's a tendency too for people to, and this is what kind of got the project started, was that in terms of the right and left, people started viewing each other as ideologies rather than people. And then the goal was, how do we, are we vilifying the other side? How are we separating ourselves from them? And then losing sight of, people as individuals and the humanity that everyone shares. And so, even for myself, I know this has been it's an exercise for me to really rethink my worldview and be very conscious about recognizing people through their experiences rather than just the way that they vote or the things that we think they believe in.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, thank you both. Anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, well, I mean, just that we're starting to kick in, as Sharika is one of our first in-house recordings that we're doing next week, and we are trying to capture as many stories as possible over the course of the year. And so anyone and everyone is encouraged to sign up to participate. We have a website. It's at onesmallstep.virginia.edu, where people can go. There's a sign-up button. You click on that, and it's a short form that you can fill out and answer a few questions about yourself. And then we'll match you with someone who we think will be a good conversation partner and get the ball rolling from there.
Awesome. So, family, make sure you heard that clear. VirginiaEquityCenter.org, and then also onesmallstep.virginia.edu. Thank y'all once again for the great work. And Razor has something to add.
Hey, I'm still tripping that Sharika said it was a year ago.
Yeah, man. Time flying, ain't it?
Yeah. When she said that, it just set me back like, man, that actually was a year ago that she was educating us about the fellowship. Yeah. And now we're a year later, you know what I'm saying? And they're growing and they're still here and she's still reaching out to people.
That's right.
Like so.
Yeah, and Razor, we got to thank our listeners too for following up on that. Those who did contact them for listening to IMHO Talk Show 101 Jams. Thank y'all for being dedicated, and thank y'all for being involved. Because Sam Mutha and Dr. Jones Lewis are doing great work. So hey, we got plenty of good things to do to help uplift our community and to bridge all these gaps we're seeing, y'all. So VirginiaEquityCenter.org to apply for to be a community fellows and resident. You'll find an application there, and also for the One Small Step initiative, you can go to onesmallstep.virginia.edu. So, ladies, thank you all once again for joining us, and please keep us posted as to the developments. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.